Meet the Mathewsons. They're a dynasty of dealers.
It drives really well.
With a love of classics.
It's only condensation.
In Thornton-le-Dale, gateway to the North York Moors, they auction over 2,000 rare vehicles every year.
42,000, the ready type, the stunning car.
All walks of life. The cars fetch people together.
I'm ecstatic.
Head of the family, Derek.
It's got to be the best job ever, isn't it? We're sort of living a dream.
Trusted lieutenants, sons Paul
Not everybody's cup of tea.
and Dave.
There's Dad's way, and there's Dad's way.
Keeping them all in check and dealing with the punters, Sarah.
Somebody could ring today with some fabulous vehicle that's been sat in a barn for 50 years. You have no clue.
It's the chase, it's finding it. So you get up every morning thinking, what am I going to find today?
This is a family's love affair with cars that have lived a life.
Someone's cherished a car and loved it, and I think it's just great. I think it's absolutely superb.
A passion that can be turned into brass. On sale this week.
1971 Bentley T1.
They are just beautiful. They are absolutely lovely. Very, very much over-engineered.
Everybody should drive one of these before they die. I'm not being clever about it, but they really should.
Ford Fiesta XR2.
Everybody who's seen it since just says, wow, you know, what a flashback to the past, and everybody wants it.
They want to go back and they want to experience how that car was in 1990.
The 1937 Singer Coupe. Very, very pretty. In fact, it's charming. That's the only word to use for it, it's charming.
It's the start of another week at Mathewsons.
Happy Monday!
Well, it's Monday.
Desirable classics may be the mainstay of everybody's business here. But the choice of car to get to work in
Morning.
can be somewhat functional. Paul has broken ranks, though. He just wafts into the office.
I just like them. You just burble along. It's just effortless.
It's a 2006 Bentley Continental GT, which he recently picked up for 16 grand.
Although people look at you and think you're a bit snobby and all the rest of it, most average family saloons are more expensive than that car there. It's ridiculous, really. Running cost-wise, it's no more expensive on fuel than most of your four-wheel drives, and it's just a nice environment to be in. It's just a lovely car.
Pleased with his apparent change in status, Paul's keen to share the trick. Today, he's off to collect another Bentley. But this one's a bit more old money. Inside this unassuming but quite long garden shed in Bridlington, Owen and Neil's elegant family runabout.
This is a 1971 Bentley T1. It's got a 6 3/4 litre engine. Originally it was my dad's. He bought it over 30 years ago. My brother-in-law renovated it a bit and he passed it on to me, so I've had it for a few years. This was the 3rd or 4th Bentley that my dad had. He used it to go to work. It was a daily runner. He enjoyed doing it in a bit of style.
With a roof rack for his medical bags, Neil's dad was a consultant who didn't really do understated.
I remember being driven on holiday to south of France or the south of Spain. My dad used to tow a caravan behind the Bentley, a classy kind of caravanner.
Following the glory years of the Bentley RNS came the Bentley T. No longer the sporting cousin of the Rolls-Royce, the T-Series was essentially a silver shadow with a different grille. Bentley licensed Citroen's legendary hydraulic brakes and suspension for extra waft, but then also installed their own tried and tested stopping power, just in case the French system packed up. The rollers sold, but the Bentley bombed. The company had lost its identity, and the driver's natural choice, Bentley, became the poor relation. But times change, and Bentleys are back. This 2-ton slab of luxury has style, glamour, and value on its side. But you will need some cash for a bit of petrol. Paul's arrived. He knows this model well.
Good afternoon. Aren't they an elegant old car? They're great, aren't they? My dad's had one for donkey's years. I could just remember being a kid, one of my first memories, and it was going on the back of a lorry and the ramp snapped. They're every old thing, aren't they? And near side rear dropped down and squashed that rear corner. He repaired it, painted it, and never actually used it again, really. Never quite got it all put back together. The chrome works in the boot and things.
Does he have that anymore?
Yeah, still got it, yeah.
The huge L-Series V8 started life in 1959, and 60 years on, with a few tweaks and turbochargers added, was still at the heart of a Bentley Mulsanne.
They are just beautiful. They are absolutely lovely. They're very, very much over-engineered, weren't they?
And they tend to sail along like a battleship or something.
They do, don't they? They float.
Surprisingly, Neil considers the T1 to be a sensible, almost economical choice car.
Not very much goes wrong with it, so getting an MOT every year is quite easy. Occasionally a wire might corrode and have to be replaced, but in general running costs are quite low.
That said, after 33 years in the family, his dad's last luxury limo will be leaving for the auction.
The time's come. I'm only driving it a few hundred miles a year, so it's a bit sad for it. I'd rather somebody else had it and looked after it.
Yeah. But on the upside, you can get in your garage again.
A dignified and beautiful driver's car for sure. And with a reserve of £5,000, cheaper than a second-hand Fiesta. What's not to like? There is a sense of entente cordiale in the village. Keeping up foreign relations for Mathewsons is Lucy, who knows exactly what Steve and Sue Davis have brought in for auction.
A Mobylette, I think.
Do we know any more?
No, not yet.
Well, it's an original French Mobylette. It's come direct from France. It was found in a grenier, as they say in France, at the French attic. And we believe it's been there for at least 35 years. And so it's effectively been brought out, dusted down. It's in its present condition.
This 1954 Parisian-built Mobylette not only provided much-needed manufacturing work after the war, but transport for the French masses.
They made them reasonably cheap, and they're the type of things that people would buy in rural France to get about. Was this or a 2CV?
It's probably more powerful than a 2CV.
I think it's probably on a par now. It's 49cc. It'll probably keep up with a 2CV.
Downhill with a wind behind
and
you.
the pedals going, yes.
Part push bike, part motorbike, very French. You needed a bit of pedal power as well as the little engine to get you to the boulangerie and back.
You had to start to pedal it to set off. You could start it up on the stand, but generally speaking, you pedalled it and opened the throttle, and with a bit of luck, it would start up and take you on your way.
Mais sacre bleu!
Spare in the tube.
Quelle surprise! Le fromage!
Crème de Gruyère. Oh, it's cheese, it's cheese.
You couldn't get any more French than a cheese box for the puncture repair kit.
At the risk of threatening our Anglo-French relationships, Derek's ready to give his opinion on this quirky mode of transport.
Very clever in the way it's put together. Decompressor one way, throttle the other. Yeah, Oh, we got to admire the French, haven't we? We all admire the French secretly, don't we? Really. And I like it. I think it's going to go down a storm. Look how dry the chains are. And 2 chains. Look, one for drive, one for pedals. Now, I've never seen that before. But I'll tell you what, she's got some compression, the old girl. Look at that. Look at that. She's got a bit of go about her. Stirrup brakes. Look, the old-fashioned stirrup brakes. On the back as well. Useless when it's wet. I shouldn't imagine it's going to stop very well when it's wet. But I think it's great. Someone's going to love this. I think that's worth £400 of anybody's money, and I think it'll sell accordingly. There's 1 or 2 guys come to our sale that will want to restore it, and I understand that. But you sort of lose something, wouldn't you? I mean, that's how it left the factory. That's how it's been languishing in a French properties loft. And I personally, I think I'd just hang it up. I think I'd just hang it on a beam and just leave it as it is. Things are only original once. I think it's so important to try and leave them original if you can.
So we're fun.
I love it. I think it's absolutely great. I do. I think it's brilliant.
So Derek's happy, but what about Steve and Sue?
David's thoughts are encouraging, actually.
Yeah,
Because it's quite a piece of history, isn't it?
a big piece of history. Besides that, it's as old as I am.
Mathewson's auctions cars that appeal to all generations. Trailers often return to base loaded with some interesting combinations. Today, Dave's son Jack is heading out to Cheshire to collect 2 cars with a 35-year age difference.
I have a lot of respect for the older cars, but I can't get overexcited about them. No, I prefer my modern bits. So it's kind of hard. Obviously, I ain't been brought up with it and I haven't grown up with them. So, you know, a lot of it, you know, it's a massive learning thing for me.
At first glance, this Ford Fiesta XR2 from 1985 does seem a bit neglected, but it's worth looking past the dust. These cars are currently one of the most sought-after modern classics around. Simon Pickering is handling the sale from his stables in Cheshire on behalf of his friend Sharon Edwards.
They were quite an expensive car and, you know, everybody wanted one, didn't they? Sharon bought it brand new, 1985. She drove it for about 9 years and then she left home and she left it with her mum. She wanted to sell it, so I went and moved it for her. It had been stood for 13 years. It was in a carport, which I think really has helped to keep it in such good condition because the wind had been blowing through it and kept all the damp off it. I basically just put a battery on it and tried it a couple of times and it started, which was unbelievable. That was like 13-year-old petrol as well. It was amazing.
Early XR2s only had 84 horsepower. Not a lot of oomph compared to today's hot hatches, but they were light and there was fun to be had.
I wanted one myself, little boy racer thing. I've not seen one for a long time, and it was lovely to see it actually. And everybody who's seen it since just says, "Wow, you know, what a flashback to the past," and everybody wants it. She'd like to have kept it, really. I think she just realised that, you know, it's time for it to go to someone who would really love it. They seem so small, don't they? From what they used to be, you know, or what the car is now. You know, they talk about little cars. This is like tiny. I know I can only just get in it. As you can see, it's in really good condition. There we go. Clean as a whistle. I've had it on the ramp. Underneath it's just the same. It's absolutely amazing. The paintwork is absolutely incredible condition, really. Even got a workshop manual with it.
And it seems this XR2 might be a lesson in how wrong first impressions can be.
And so that's all totally as we found it. The only thing I have put on it is the new battery. Check the oil. The oil's good in it, actually. Obviously a little bit of surface rust here and there, but I can't find any rot on the car at all. And she runs as sweet as a nut. Sounds really good. It's even got the little lights on the front there. I think that was an absolute icon of the XR2 as well, wasn't it?
Also still in situ, the 80s cassette player, complete with rare artefacts from the time.
Let's have a look. Good God. Grand Duran. She Still a Duran Duran fan. Don't tell her I said that, though.
Jack's arrived to see the car he might have owned had he been born 35 years earlier.
Hiya mate, how are we? Oh, there it is. I couldn't see it. Oh, look at that.
She is in good condition, it's unbelievable.
It is, yeah. Yeah, it's amazing, really. You wouldn't think it would be just sat here, would you? Inside, all right.
Just have a look and show it's only 17,000 on it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, a real good cleaning secret. It'd almost look new.
Well, it would, yeah.
No, I think that's real cool, that.
This XR2 might not be to everyone's taste, but an early, unmodified, low-mileage one that hasn't been in a ditch makes it a pretty rare car.
I think they look real quirky, don't they? I like them.
It drives really well. I'd love to be able to take it up the road. That would be just absolutely fantastic. Proper little pocket rocket, yeah.
Simon has talked to owner Sharon about a reserve for the auction.
I think she's going to put probably about 3,500 on it. I would hope it would make that and maybe a little bit more.
And with that, it's heading to be a bargain restoration project for someone. Just arriving at the garage, motoring royalty in the form of the Bentley T from 1971. Derek's sort of car, and not to be confused with the almost identical Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow.
Becoming now the most popular of the series, I would think. Most certainly far more popular car than a Shadow. Bentley's always regarded as the driver's version of a Rolls Bentley. Ooh.
Old car, isn't it? They're great.
They're a lovely old thing. Yep. One of the nicest things, it's retained its smell. It smells nice. Don't smell damp, does it? Interior a little untidy, a little bit tatty, some splits in the upholstery, unfortunately. And the wood really wants re-veneering, but it's good enough for the time being. The body looks quite sound. A slight hydraulic tap it. That'll disappear. In fact, it's going now. There it is, filling up with oil. Absolutely lovely. Very, very sweet engine. Feels nice. Sounds sweet. Lovely, isn't it? There's just something about the old things. They're just great, really, aren't they? Yeah, no, she's lovely. Lovely old car. So many people, myself included really, think the Rolls are a little bit ostentatious. You know, it's not quite really a driver's machine, if you like. But the Bentley is always regarded as a driver's machine. It's just a little bit more acceptable amongst the lads, if you like, you know. Everybody should drive one of these before they die. I'm not being clever about it, but they really should, because until you drive this car in particular, this is lovely, very typical of the way they drive. I mean, it's obviously a looked after car. Until you drive this car, you haven't really driven anything much on the road, you know, that you can really say, wow, that is something special. And already it's telling me, just keep driving. I could drive this down to Spain, drive it anywhere in the world. It's just so lovely, effortless. It's the ultimate. I mean, they just cruise so smoothly, so quiet. How could you possibly want anything better than this to drive? All for like 5,000 quid, for argument's sake, or 6,000 quid, or 7,000 quid, or in some cases 3,000 quid. It's just an absolute joke. Listen to that now, sweet as a nut, that engine. It's one of them cars, you want the journey to last as long as it possibly can, so you don't want to be going fast, cruising about nice and steady, and you'll get 17, 16, 17, 18 to the gallon. I've heard even more. But you'll certainly get that sort of fuel consumption, that sort of return. And I mean, we can all live with that for one afternoon a week and thoroughly enjoy your motoring. Really, really enjoy your motoring like you've never enjoyed motoring before.
Auction day, and a nice variety of shiny classics up for grabs.
You just have to bid on the day, and if you get it, you get it. If you don't, there'll always be something else.
Hello, just want to register.
But getting them all sold is going to take some time.
We've got about 300 lots of automobilia. I'm probably not going to get home tonight. I might as well just bed down here with the cat.
45 and selling, £45. Are you done? 45.
Thank you very much.
Bought 4 of these biplanes. Got a nice little garage at home. They're going to go down very well. Here's the rest of them. I was willing to pay 200 quid for these, and I got them for 70. Happy days.
But when it comes to getting bang for your buck, there really is only one contender in this auction. All right, miss, for the most majestic and regal bargain of the day.
1971 Bentley T1, nice old car this one. Very, very genuine. Been in the same family for 150 years or something. Long time. Lot number 129. Start me on it. Whereabouts going to be? Where? 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3,400, 3, 4, 6, 8, 3,800. There you go. Told you. 3,800. 4, 4,100. 4,001. Back to you. 4,100. 4, 1. 4, 1.
Trader Anthony Selig, the highest bidder.
I'm extremely happy with the car, yeah. Taking it back across to our premises over in Middlesbrough. A couple of remedial works to do on the car, and then we'll be putting it up for sale.
This most British of British vehicles may soon be doing some transcontinental touring. The last one Anthony had ended up in Singapore. At the garage, some valuable catching up time for Sarah, interspersed with the inevitable enquiries.
Hello, I'm not young and I'm not a lady, so let's just get that straight.
Transit motorhome, is it for sale?
The transit is, yes, through the side gate, sir. Go and find one of the guys. You know, hang on, let me just get my hand out my backside and I'll go and show you the caravan while I'm doing this and everything else.
Derek's gone missing.
He's either sat on the throne or he's having a brew. We'll manage, won't we?
Meanwhile, Jack is arriving in Bury, Greater Manchester, to collect his second car of the day. This one is a little bit more mature.
Hello. Hi. How are we?
In a panic.
Look at all this. Oh, wow.
Jack's meeting Pat Hardy, whose husband Malcolm recently passed away.
Oh, it's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
How long you had it?
This is it. Well, I was just looking. I think it's about 20 odd years.
Oh, yeah.
Malcolm's treasured 1950 MGYA was totally restored. Now, Pat and daughter Caroline need to say goodbye.
He picked it up about 1989. Everything had to be just right. He would find out who was the best person to do such a thing. When he did the walnut dash and the door cappings and everything, he got them from a man who used to do the Sultan of Brunei's Rolls Royce. It's had a new engine, it had new this, that and the other. We had to source things like the seats came from Brighton. That took him quite a few years to do that.
Yeah.
In the late 1930s, MG decided it needed a family saloon to complement its popular midget two-seaters. The approved designs were traditional: leather seats, walnut, headlights on stalks, and an old-school separate chassis. Then along came the war, and the whole thing was put on hold. When it was finally launched in 1947, the advertising boasted of remarkable road manners and virile acceleration. But unfortunately, it was now 8 years after its conception, so it seemed a bit outdated. That said, there was a decent market for them, and 8,000 were made until it was replaced by the MG Magnet.
It's lovely. Right, I'll put it out. Yeah, no,
I mean, that's last time they turned the key, it started first time.
Everyone cross the fingers. We got some battery.
family have owned many MGs over the years, but the YA was always Malcolm's favourite.
I didn't want it to sit in the garage for years and me think, oh, what a shame, what's a shame about that? And now it won't go. That's not nice to think that Malcolm took all that time to do it and I let it go. Now, I've let it go, but hopefully to someone who's going to look after it and drive round in it and have some enjoyment from it.
That's my name on the back of the car. Quite emotional, yeah.
Derek said something to me that really struck a chord, and he said, I get lots of ladies like you. And he said, did he have to sell anything he loved before he died? And I said, no. He said, well, there you go. I thought, right, you're for me, mate, you can sell it.
This much-loved MG is expected to sell for around 10 grand. Back at the garage, Derek's reappeared.
Oh, here he is. Scarlet Pimpernel. Where have you been? You been sat upstairs eating?
Yeah, back in circulation, yeah.
Oh, we don't want him wasting away, do we?
He's keen to look over a new arrival. Not dissimilar to the post-war MG, but this Singer Coupe is pre-war. First registered in 1937.
Don't see very many of them. Lovely little car, very, very pretty. In fact, it's charming. That's the only word to use for it, it's charming. Little two-door coupe, only about 900 and some odd cc. It's just super. I think it's absolutely great. We haven't had it running. I don't know anything about it mechanically. What you see is exactly what you get. That's it. We're selling it on that basis. It's been kept quite well. It's been kept quite clean, covered over and such like.
But this little car does have its issues for today's driver.
Like most British cars of this year, they were grossly underpowered, even in them days. I mean, they're diabolically underpowered now, I'm afraid, which is why they're not doing the business they should be doing. The super style, super sports coupe shape, and I mean, totally charming, but very much like, you know, like a sheep in wolf's clothing. It's completely the other way around. They were really steady. I mean, this little engine, it can't be expected to pull this thing along at great speed, but they look as though they're going to be doing 70 or 80 mile an hour. They're that type of car.
Modified versions of Singers like this did do surprisingly well at Le Mans, and the domestic versions came loaded with all the latest gear.
It's a picture, isn't it? Fuel gauge, modern ammeter been put in. Bit of a shame, but we get plenty of these black ammeters, not a problem. An oil gauge there, look. And these lovely little mirrors, look, which point towards your semaphores, so that when you flick your semaphores on, you no need to look and check they're on. You look in the mirrors and you can see them come out on these little tiny extra mirrors here. And a sunroof, nice little sliding sunroof. Bit sticky, not been used very much. Got the lot, hasn't it?
The XR2 of its day, and is expected to do well at the auction.
I think it'll achieve tidy money. I think it'll cause a lot of interest because of what it is. It's so pretty. I think it'll do somewhere around about the 8,000, which I think is fantastic value for such a superb, stylish little car. It's just elegant thing.
Auction day. No shortage of potential buyers eager to root out a bargain.
Right, what we're looking at is a Scots motorcycle parts list. If you want the right spare part, you'll find it in here.
On the slate today, an opportunity to relive a misspent youth. Dave owned an XR2 just like this one shortly after he got his licence.
It's nice to see one, how Ford produced it. And that's what people like. They want to step back. It's all nostalgia, isn't it? It's a trip, isn't it? They want to go back. They want to experience how that car was in 1990.
Also on the hunt for nostalgia, father and son, Harry and Anthony, drawn to the MGYA.
Something with a bit of history, that's what we're searching for today. Like this.
Nice.
This one, in good condition, is quite rare. The idea is to get a few cars, so when we've gone, the family still inherit them and they have a bit of history. So we're starting our collection today.
MGYA, Cracker, 1950. What a lovely bit of kit this is. Super condition. Only just come in. Start me on it. Whereabouts we're going to be? Where? 7. We're off. 7,000. 7. 250. 7,500. 7,750. 8. 8,000. 8,100. 8,100 on my right. Last time looking round, provisionally 8,100. A cracking car. 8,1. Provisional. 8,001.
Alan Coe from Richmond, North Yorkshire, the highest bidder. His offer, nearly £2,000 below reserve, was later agreed. Outside, big retro love for the Ford Fiesta XR2. A touch of boy racer from the 80s, but now something of a sound investment.
There's lots of fast Fords around, but they're fetching really, really high money now, and these are reasonably affordable to somebody that wants a fast Ford. This is a good example. It would be a good restoration project for somebody.
I think it's absolutely mint. Paris blue, rare colour, early one. Everything standard, original. I could be quite interested, yeah.
1985 Ford Fiesta XR2. Lots of interest in this. Very unusual car. One family owned from new. I don't think they come much more genuine. Start me then. Where are we going to be? 2. 2,000 and off. 2,100. 2,2. 2,3. 2,4. 2,5. 2,005. 2,6. 2,7. 2,007 down here. 2,007. 2,8. 2,008 at the back. 2,9. 2,900. 3. £3,000. 3,1. 3,100. Selling. 3,100. Difficult car to value. 3,2. 3. 3,003 here on the right. Ground now, sir. 3,4 he says. 3,5. 3,6. He's back in. No, he's shaking his head. 3,006. Sneaky that. 3,600. Gentleman on the left. 3,650. 3,650. Shaking his head. 3,650. Are you sure? 3,650. Thank you.
Success for another father and son team, Tony and Dennis Nisbet.
I had one when I was 17 years old and I'm 40 next year, so midlife crisis calls.
Avoiding that pitfall, original owner Sharon Edwards.
I couldn't make it when they come to collect the car. I was at work, but thought we'd come up today for a nice day out to see the auction, and yeah, really happy with everything sold. And
you're happy with the price as well?
Happy with the price, more than I thought really, so it's really good.
It may not look nice, but by the time you're finished with it,
it will do.
It will do, yeah?
It will do.
Richmond, North Yorkshire. A beautiful and historic market town, unchanged for generations. Now the home of the 1950 MGYA. Thanks to the war and some traditional designers, this car was old before it was new. But that didn't stop Alan Coe from wanting it on auction day.
When I got there, it was looking really smart in the showroom, and I was toyed with whether I should go for it, but now I thought, yeah, why not? I've wanted one of these for quite a while, and be great to have and use for the shows next year.
The MG's previous owner, Malcolm Hardy, kept a full record of all the work he did on the car.
He's done a great job. The thing is, you've got to have the patience, you've got to have the time, you've got to have the passion to actually do all this. Every little detail has been stripped down. If it can be used, it's been repainted and overhauled. The engine there, he's had that out. The whole thing, there's evidence of almost every single thing being stripped out and renewed, repaired or overhauled. Right down to, it's got the shell there being sprayed. Yeah, it's a great record. It just adds a bit more provenance to the whole car and great for an owner.
The Y-Series MGs did have some modern features like independent front suspension, but owning one still takes a bit of getting used to.
Well, there's not a lot of refinements. It's quite basic, no heater, no things like that, heated windscreen, nothing like you get in a new modern car. Not great on the motorway, but yeah, country roads, you know, around where I live, it keeps well up with traffic, you know, it'll do 60 mile an hour. These cars need to be out for the general public to see, people to enjoy. The amount of work that's got into it, it needs to be out there. I love driving old cars. They make you think, they make you smile, so it's great fun.
In other news, the 65-year-old Parisian Mobylette went down well at the auction.
This was found in a French house, the attic of a French chateau. Still got the cheese wrappers in the panniers. Brilliant bit of kit, 1954. I love this to bits. Start me, where then? 200, 250, 300, 350, 400, 400, 400, 450, 450. Speak French? 450. Don't start if you don't speak French. 450. Totally original. Never find another one like it with that sort of history, will you? Last time looking round, 450. 450. Well done. Bargain.
Apparently, Bob Brown from Derbyshire didn't take Derek's advice to hang it on a wall, but he did manage to get it running a few weeks later. As for the mid-80s XR2, bought by Tony and Dennis Nisbet, it took the best part of a year's work, not only to save it, but to make it look like it just rolled out of the factory.
I was an apprentice panel beater for 3 years, then I got onto the paint side. I've been a body shop manager, I've been body shop foreman, I'm the paint shop foreman. A big issue to someone else isn't a big issue to myself with us working in the motor trade. So people look and see a horror, and I just look and think, well, that's easily sorted, that's easily sorted.
Tony had one of these when he was 17. When it comes to cars, he's never quite grown up.
The noise, the feel of them, being 2 inches off the ground, thinking you're going faster than you are, that's where it stems from. I was 40 this year, and I promised myself a present.
And Dad's Dennis bought it for him, but it is conditional.
I buy the parts, Tony does the work. That's the deal we have. I suppose I'm an enthusiast, an amateur enthusiast. He's the professional.
It's for the best. Dad's car history is mixed.
The Allegros, the Peugeot 504s. Oh, he had a gold Austin Princess with a vinyl roof.
Right.
It was horrendous. I think that's why I've always liked nice cars.
But this one wasn't that great when he got up on the ramp.
It needed a lot of work doing to it. It needed a lot of part sourcing. Wheel arches are rotting away behind. The battery tray was gone, the inner wing was gone. Took the carpets out and the floor. It was a bit like Fred Flintstones. You could put your feet through in some parts.
Originality is all for Tony.
From the wheel trims to the sticker on the back window to the twisty analog radio, cassette player. There's nothing modern and nothing changed, nothing modernised about it at all. Door protectors, I've bought them and put them on. I've bought one of those air fresheners, the late traffic lights. Just everything from 1980s. I'd draw a line at fluffy dice like, but...
You were 17 again?
I was 17 again. I still am now, looking at it.
He's done a cracking job, hasn't he?
He has as well, he has as well. Smasher, yeah. Not many like that. Not around now, I don't think.
Back at the garage, another of Derek's favourites finally made its way to the auction. The Singer Coupe from 1937. Here for the day, Tim Gosling from Norfolk.
Pump your tyres, that wheel brace and spinner, everything, the little toolkit.
Tim's not that fussy about what he buys, so long as the car's over 60.
We've just spotted this, as we're sort of looking for something of this era, this vintage, possibly a Morris 8 or something similar to that, but this sort of ticks the boxes. It's quite a nice little car, looks quite original. It's not something I'm ever so familiar with. If it was a Morris 8, I could tell you its inside leg measurements and everything else, but this would be sort of, you know, something that I could learn on as well. So if the sort of sums add up, you never know. It could be going home to Norfolk.
Lot number 1 is a 1937 Singer Coupe. 7,000 I want to start. The most prettiest little coupe we've seen for ages. It's absolutely gorgeous. £7,000. I've got 7,000, 7,1, 7,2, 7,3. Going 7,300. Are you sure you're all done? 7,4, 7,400, 7,4, 7,5, 7,500 and going. 7,005, 6. 7,006, 7,006, I'm out. 7,006, on the phone. 7,6, sold. 7,600, thanks for your bidding.
Sold by phone to Colin Britt of Wisbeach, Cambridgeshire.
Right up.
The Singer's engine had been seized for many years, so a few days later, there was an undignified departure from the garage. 3 months later, though, the story was quite different. When it comes to this particular mark, Colin has form.
Well, I've got 2 other Singers, so I'm a bit of a Singer nut. First one I've got was a 1929 Junior, which I've restored from a wreck been in a barn since 1961. The second one is a 1931. I'm still working on it.
Colin also completely restored this Series 1 Land Rover that he sold to buy his newest Singer, now affectionately known as Ella.
When I saw that Ella was for sale, I just fell in love with her. I completely fell in love with her. From the pictures, I drove up to Mathewsons, had a good chat to Derek, and I wasn't going to go away without her, basically. She's just my dream car.
Since the sale, he and Ella have been spending a lot of time together in his workshop.
All the mechanics were shot. The bodywork's lovely. Tyres were remoulded from about 1950, so I put new tyres on, but everything that's been done is under the bonnet, you can't see it. Since I've had her, the engine has been rebuilt. I've had to have the distributor and the carburettor both completely overhauled by specialists. I've also enjoyed a lot of help from the Singer Owners Club and the Singer Car Club. You get lots of advice. There's always a club out there. And I think that's the nice point about old cars. There's always some nutters like you who will help you get it back on the road.